You're listening to Ka-Pow, the pop culture podcast. Comics, television, movies, and more. If it impacts fan culture, we have something to say about it. And now, your hosts, Michael, Jordan, Cliff, and Seth.
4, 3, 2, 1. Hi, this is the illustrious Michael K. Easton.
My name is Jordan Lowe.
Cliff Barnes.
I'm Seth. We're back, baby.
Welcome.
Yeah, we're going to start off strong this week. First first episode of this recording session. We normally like to save what we think is going to be the good stuff for after we get a little, we get the juices flowing a little bit. We get a little wound up, but we're gonna start it right off tonight.
I think we're juiced enough as it is. I think we are ready to roll. We hadn't done a countdown show in a long time, and it feels like we just did it. But this one's a nice companion to that last one we did. So we did the favorite superhero costume countdown, where we picked our favorite outfits that our heroes wear, and those are all we put them on YouTube because it was a very visual sort of show. So we're gonna do the flip side of that coin tonight. We're gonna do favorite supervillain countdown. So you can listen to it in the audio version just like always, but you might get a little more out of it if you watch the videos, because we're gonna share our screens and show all these costumes we're talking about. So head on over to YouTube. Those will be on our main page.
That's right.
So let's go through our pickings again. Get your screenshot. This is your big chance. I'm gonna put it up here and tell you who has what picks. Don't worry about it too much. Yeah. It's convoluted. It's a convoluted system.
We call it the cooperative.
Well, I don't even remember.
There's a term we used.
Yeah.
Yeah. Go back to the
collaborative
last
competition.
There you go. Here's your picks. Michael has the A slot, then Jordan, then me, then Cliff. We each get 3 picks. There's a top 12. So Michael has a couple vetoes if he doesn't like what somebody picks. The rest of us each have one person, me, has a veto override. If somebody else's pick gets vetoed, I can stop it and say, hey, I like what they picked. And you can use them whenever and whatever, and you don't have to use them. So we'll see what happens.
We used just about everything last time, so we threw everything out the window.
Yeah, we'll see if that. We might have to do that this time, but we'll see.
I fully expect after. I feel like we got the hang of it a little better the last countdown we did. So I got a feeling that maybe the vetoes will be a little looser this time. So
Sure.
So it should be easier, don't you think? Like every hero, for every one hero, there's dozens of bad guys, right? So there should have been an almost infinite amount to pick from. So we're going to go with our nostalgic favorites, maybe some cool, more recent updates on old characters. Who knows what's in store? It could go any which way. We might agree on everything, or we might have 4 completely different lists. So,
and just like the last time we did this, I'm sure we all, of course, had our own way of doing it, like making our list, our own, thoughts behind each one, and how we got there, what focus, we were taking on the list, because we're not known to be very, some of our lists are a little odd. The pickings, they're not always the, right on the surface picks, much like our last list. So we'll see what happens.
I'm totally fine with that. We don't have to be boring.
Right.
I don't care if people don't like what we picked. All right. So okay. First up, we got Cliff with the number 12 pick.
That's right. I would just say Jordan and I were kind of talking a little off air, but I think we both kind of threw ours together pretty quickly. Like, we didn't look at a bunch of lists on the internet or anything like that.
Right.
It was just kind of whatever came to the top of my head. I kind of went with. Made myself. I made sure I had a few extra picks, just like with the heroes, just in case there was some vetoes in there, and then I needed some backup. So. We each
Sounds like you're running for office.
Not yet.
Like...
But we each are going to have some interesting things here. So, okay. All right. I'm going to share my screen here, guys, with the number 12 pick. Right there. Can everybody see that? That is the Gentleman Ghost. He's nothing. He's nothing but costume.
Yeah, I like it already.
What is it with you and freaking tuxedos?
The first thing I thought was I was like, is that a dead Zatanna?
Yeah, I was looking for fishnet. Must be wearing those under the suit.
Yeah, no fishnets this time. But yeah, I like, I like a little class in my heroes and villains. I like if we're gonna do some bad stuff, let's get dressed up to do it. So, classic DC villain, been around, I think, since the 40s. But he's a fancy guy. He's got the top hat, the monocle, and
fancy guy.
Yeah, fancy guy. He's got the cape with the, I mean, I just love it. I don't know. I always liked it. The pistols, the classic, very old style look and feel, the ghost horse. It all, every time this guy was in a cartoon or a book, fought Hawkman a bunch. I always thought it was cool and like, wow, what an obscure, neat thing. So the Gentleman Ghost, guys.
Is he like JSA Rogues Gallery or just mainly Hawkman?
Well, yeah. He's certainly been around since those early 40s books, and then later on, I think became Hawkman was too, but I think a lot of people associate him as probably a Hawkman villain, but I think maybe he even like originally premiered in like the Boy Commandos or something like that. I read. So
how do you hit a ghost with a mace?
It's that magic
It's
metal.
Well, yeah. You can do it in D&D if you got the right mace.
And Hawkman's got the right mace.
Yeah, so I didn't get Hawkman on my list for the heroes, so I thought, why not? Let's go with somebody he fought.
Well,
I like how do you? I like that. That's your question. There's a lot going on here, and you're most concerned with if you can hit this ghost with a mace. He's a ghost that you can see his clothes, but they're also ghostly. But you can't see him.
Can't see him. That's
me and Cliff had very identical lists for the heroes, but we're right off the bat we have veered pretty wildly. This would not have even occurred to me.
Michael, what's your thoughts on this? Because you will be the first one to have to decide if they have to use a veto here.
I can't believe I'm doing this, but I am immediately using my first veto.
What? Wow. You're a DC guy. You should love this pick.
Those vetoes are to protect your number one pick, which Jordan got 8 up last time because he wasn't able to save those. And you're going to use it on Ghost Guy, Mr. Fancy.
I am. That is not a costume. It's
how is it not
the ghost of a costume.
yeah, you don't even know what the dude looks like. It's just his freaking. It's a tuxedo with a cape. No, I reject this.
Oh, Michael!
Wow.
I thought you would be the one to back me up there. That just means
I'm not a big fan of anything that has to do with regular clothing when it comes to costume characters. Just like the Red Hood. Is it? Or wait a minute, not Red. Is that?
Yeah.
In Marvel, and like in Marvel comics, though, what is that? What he was called?
There's a guy called the Hood.
Okay, so it's just the Hood. It just happens to be red.
Parker, whatever.
He just had a red cape.
Yeah, I just read that.
But,
I just read
and he's my number one pick.
I actually considered it. I was like, that's pretty cool. Yeah, I just read the trade on that guy, that BKV series. Anyway, okay, Cliff, you got to come right back here.
I think that was Cliff's plan. I think he wanted 2 picks right.
He wants to get all his ideas out there, and I respect it. Go, what else you got?
There's nothing in the rules that says I can't pull Gentleman Ghost back up again in another pick either.
I don't know how you don't use that purple Luther behind you. I like that one.
That's
it's all about the threads, man.
All right, so I got to pick another one here, guys. Now this is drastically different than the one I just picked. Okay.
So much shade.
I know. Tell you.
I hope so.
Now that's a DC villain.
So here we
go. He was at the mattress store and he saw a bunch of sheets. He thought, that's a good costume.
What can I sell? Let's go right here. Can everybody see this?
Oh no!
It's Pickle Rick.
I'm so sorry, guys.
The Condiment King. What a great costume.
Oh.
This is right up my alley. It's fun and silly, and a guy that has ketchup and mustard guns and a pickle hat.
Did Michael K. Easton draw that first drawing?
That is the most graphic picture we've ever shared. Does he got a bunch of packets of ketchup in there or something?
He does have.
What's he holding down there in his drawers?
No, he. If you look at the middle picture, you'll see the condiment packets he is carrying there on his shoulder. So.
What the hell is this? What is this?
This is a villain. This is a villain that was introduced, I believe, in the Bruce Timm Batman the Animated Series, guys. And I like my villains to be silly and fun sometimes. And
pack and heat.
And pack and heat.
Saucy.
He's got the sauce.
Sausage.
Well, I say we just let Cliff have it because it's just going to get worse.
Well, Michael, it's all you.
I feel like I should apologize to everyone for using my veto so soon. I just.
You don't like the Condiment King? Just because it's silly?
There is nothing good about that costume whatsoever.
It's obviously a costume he designed himself.
Yeah.
And
I mean, the middle picture is slightly better than the other two, but I mean, I want to know first of all, I want to know the origin of this. Is this like some disgruntled manager at a fast food restaurant?
He was I believe he was a comedian, and he was one of the judges in the storyline where the Joker origin storyline, where Joker was a stand-up comedian and entered a contest, and the Condiment King was a judge, and the Joker, I believe, don't quote me, had basically gassed him or something to manipulate him, make him go crazy, and make himself a supervillain.
All right.
Jordan, thoughts?
Well, I don't relish this pick, but
nice. Nice. So nobody's going to veto?
Well, it sounds like Michael wasn't. Jordan doesn't relish it, but are you vetoing it?
According to Google, he's often used for comic relief.
No doubt. And this is number 12, guys. So
I won't use my veto. There's something I might care a little more about later.
Yeah, I have never even heard of that guy, and
you never will.
So I'm just trying to catch up. But I did like the center picture there, and like the bandolier of packets. The center costume is solid gold. I love it. Like if I knew this existed, I might have had it on here. Like that was pretty good. So I fully back this pick, Cliff, and I think it is an improvement over Gentleman Ghost. So I think I like.
It's not a tuxedo.
I like where we're at.
Yeah, it's an improvement in that it is a costume.
Yes. So I'm with you. Okay, so now we're at pick 11, which is me. Let's see if I can find something here. I don't know. Let's see.
But while he's picking, I have a good solid 12, and I'm like really worried about.
So did Condiment Man.
Yeah. But I'm over here looking at my list, and I'm sweating on how to like pick 3 out of these.
Yeah,
that's the game.
All right, I'm going to go with a
so saucy
costume that I believe is more recent. It's a current costume to an old villain that I saw some pics of when I was looking for some villains, and I was like, hey, I really like this. So let's start with this one here. So it says Magneto. So we got he's in white this time. This is a first shot here. I'll try another one here. Let's see. We have. I was really considering his regular costume, but then I saw this. I like the purple and red, but this is way better. Love his helmet. I think his helmet is a classic. You know, he's got that like gladiator looking helmet, but the white really takes it over the top for me. I love the cape that just seems to go on forever. I got one more shot here. Let's see. So
it's always an interesting take for me when they do, especially when you have a villain that's kind of like an anti-hero, okay? And they choose the white outfit instead of the, traditional black or dark colors. Very much like
Gentleman Ghost.
Gentleman Ghost. Exactly. See, we were on the right track. We both, we were both thinking that white costume. But, almost like the Snake Eyes Storm Shadow, using that motif. So,
yeah. So, Michael, thoughts?
I'm sure this doesn't go into the color scheme at all. Thinking, but immediately I thought of, is this a reflection because they retcon his origin of where he was a prisoner, like in one of the camps, and they would have wore like black and white stripe. Like you could go deeper into the costume, but I'm curious is because white means pure. Like you think of purity of like, does this costume represent like he's cleansed himself of his previous sins and now he's walking a much higher nobility. As far as the design goes, like I dig the design. You're right about the helmet. It's a classic. You can change a lot about him because, like, I remember in the '80s where they tried to, was it '80s or '90s where they tried to make him good, and he had that stupid big M on his chest. I actually like this costume.
Sounds like it's not getting vetoed by Michael. Jordan, what are your thoughts?
He was actually in my top 5. So I was wondering if I was going to be able to get him on the list. So the fact that you can is fine. I wasn't going with the white look, but it's a cool. I mean the classic red and purple doesn't always work. It can look a little silly with the bright colors. So this is definitely a cooler modern look, but I prefer the classic, but white's fine with me.
And Cliff.
Actually, I've got to pick that one Michael said if I can share my screen.
Yeah. Let me stop here.
There's the classic.
Yeah, there's the classic
Yeah.
look. I'm okay with it at 11. It wouldn't have been real high on my list, but I mean,
So yeah, there's a few fashion faux pas here where
Yeah.
when he turned into the hero and the weird WWE belt he had.
Yeah.
That third version looks more like the ultimate version. Yeah.
And then Grant Morrison gave him more like the robed look, but
Yeah.
I love the classic
Yeah, that's good.
hot red and purple look.
I looked it up real quick. Magneto adopted his white costume after joining Scott Summers' group of Renegade X-Men. Though he had since adopted a black version of this costume represents a major turn for him, trying to repent for his previous sins.
Yeah, he's got the X on the belt and stuff. He's trying to get along, but
the all black costume looked cool too. It had like red highlights on it, but yeah.
Oh, I want to see that one.
All right. Well, Cliff, what'd you decide?
yeah, I'm okay with it.
All right, it's 11. Okay, it's at 11. Surely we can. Okay, so moving on here, we got Jordan at number 10.
My last list had several DC characters on it. This one does not have that many. I'm way more leaning Marvel on this one, but my number 10, I'm gonna go with a classic DC villain, Harley Quinn.
I wondered who would have this on their list first.
This is not my favorite character. They've done a lot of bizarre things with her and changed her quite a lot, but this original classic look, I don't know if you can get better than that. She debuted on Batman the Animated Series in September of 1992 in the episode Joker's Favor, which is one of my favorite episodes of all time. And they really just needed someone. They needed someone to pop out of a cake, and they thought it would be weird if Joker did that. So like let's give him a female sidekick. So she was a very flat character, just meant to be visual. She was just kind of a visual thing. And then the voice actor Arlene Sorkin came in and just knocked it out of the park. And her voice was all her personality and her quirks. So just became a very fast fan favorite. Obviously based on the theater, the Harlequin of the theater, the checked clothes, the silly, the jester type character.
Mm-hmm.
This is my favorite costume of hers, that original look.
Oh yeah. So looking here, she is like, we said last time, Janet Van Dyne, the Wasp, had a new costume every couple months. Harley has a new costume every issue. Right. So she's a cosplay dream. You can use the theme of the red and the black and the heart and the diamond, and you can take it all over the place. So they let artists be really creative in their designs, and that's gone into pop culture as well. So there have been a million different designs. Every video game she's in, every cartoon. Yeah. The most recent look is the closest to the original. They've given her longer pants. She's not showing quite as much skin, so she's become kind of an anti-hero, more of a vigilante, more of a good guy on Batman's side. So the current costume is pretty decent, but it's never gotten better than the Bruce Timm look, the animated style, the red and the black.
Yeah, that right there looks good. I like it. I like this pick.
I'm gonna Jordan, I'm gonna share an image real quick too. Let me hold on. Give me just a second here, and to find it. Okay.
And it just goes right into the Margot Robbie idea of every outfit she wore in that has been cosplayed a million times, and I don't know. It's just most characters in the comics get one look, and it stays that way forever. But Harley has evolved and will continue to evolve. But I don't know. I think they got it right out of the gate as well.
I had this on my list also. I just, with her popularity, and I've just always loved Harley. I know they use her to death now and try and, squeeze her into everything. But I do love that costume. Like, it's functional. I love, it's functional. It immediately gives you, that we know something about her, the clown look that she's related.
The suit has a lot of personality.
It does, yeah.
It's very classic. I mean, at number 10, we're really gonna have to bring it the rest of the way. So, kind of curious.
I honestly think she should be higher on the list without the original costume.
Veto it.
No, I'm not using my other veto. You.
I'm saying that's how it works. If you don't have to just veto stuff you don't like, veto something you want higher.
If you want it in a higher spot.
I think if I liked the character more, or was more, like, I haven't read a whole lot of Harley. I loved her in the animated series. The Mad Love graphic novel is amazing, but they did the Deadpool thing where they just kind of ran her into the ground a little bit, or tried to make her way too edgy or way too adult. Even the new cartoon is very R-rated, so I that's just not. I haven't loved that direction with the character, so it may have been higher on my list if I had liked the character a little more. But yeah.
Well, I don't think anybody's got any objection or going to fight to try to get it higher, I guess. So we're going to have Harley Quinn original costume, classic look, right there at the number 10 spot. So coming in at number 9, got the illustrious one about to share. What do you got? What did you create? Which of your characters?
I thought about that. I was like, there's nothing that says I can't use my own characters. This has always been my absolute favorite of this villain. And there's just no argument. I mean,
guys, don't argue.
Big statement.
It's letting us know off the bat. Do not argue with this.
He is designed by the amazing George Perez, hands down, best costume ever.
Ever.
Did that not work?
Yeah, I got it. Yeah,
that's a costume.
The new.
How could you like this and not like Condiment Game?
Well, for one, his package isn't showing. It's very, very.
It's very similar to Condiment Game. I want to see side by side.
It is nowhere close to. I would have fight you.
He's shooting hot sauce out of that right hand of his.
That's right.
Yeah.
Now, of course, a lot of people know this outfit from the 1980s Kenner line of superpowers.
Yep.
Of course, this was designed by George Perez, and this is actually, if I'm not mistaken, this is the suit that he wears when we were talking about the planet Lexor and where Lex had his own planet. He was the hero of that planet, and that's the outfit that he wore. It was just that his mask, like that shield over his face, like it didn't show his face. But I mean, this has been used various times over in so many different ways. A lot of times it's come back more recently.
I immediately thought that 1985 Kenner Superpowers toy collection immediately, and everybody knows I love everything about that line, so he's a villain.
Like these villains are a little bit hamstrung. That Michael, you might be able to speak to this as an artist, of like they're so often with these purples and green, and like the heroes get the primary colors, where the villains get colors that don't always you wouldn't always assume are the best visually.
That goes back to the original printing, like when they used to do like the golden age of comics of the superheroes always got primary colors because they would play off of the villains having the purples and greens. And that's actually one of the things where with the Hulk originally that he was gray, but it was interesting that they switched to the green and purple with Incredible Hulk since he was supposed to be more of a hero. But it's always been purple and green and all those like secondary colors for the supervillains, and it's supposed to contrast to the superheroes.
That's very true. Yeah. And functionally, what did this suit do?
It basically gave
him a hot dog
to be on the same level. He was able to hold his own against Superman, because that's the thing.
To take a punch.
Yeah, that was one thing that I always had a problem with Superman versus Lex Luthor. Is Lex Luthor was never as powerful as Superman, but often he could outsmart him. But with this suit, he actually was on par with Superman.
So he could fly in the suit, right?
Yeah.
And did he have like kryptonite? It was kryptonite powered. Was that the deal?
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised. Like, there's been so many different versions of the suit. It's hard to tell. Originally, I don't think it was powered by kryptonite. I just think it was powerful enough to, you're going back to an older continuity. So it's hard to tell what their original designs were on that. Yeah. But it was basically just that he was powerful and he could hold his own, where this is where he switched over from having the Super Friends outfit that's in behind you.
Yeah. Gotcha.
So, anybody have any interest in vetoing, or are we?
It's an iconic look, but that doesn't mean it's great.
It is great.
Yeah. I prefer the Luthor who's sitting behind a desk who is outsmarted Superman rather than trying to
the power suit. The real power suit, not the mechanical power suit, but the yeah.
But then again, when the CW show, he showed up in that armor. I was like, oh my, there you go. Like, it was a moment. So there was something behind it. There's something in the nostalgia, you said, and the toys we remember. So it's if we're only gonna have one Superman villain on the list, maybe that I guess that deserves a spot.
Yeah, that's a neat point, Jordan, because I was just thinking my original where I first saw Lex Luthor was Super Friends, right? And then 1985 comes along and this toy, and I was like, holy cow, because Lex Luthor was just a guy in a shirt and pants. He didn't have any powers or anything on Super Friends. And then suddenly here he is in this suit, and oh crap, he can fight now.
Yeah, I like it. So especially if Michael likes this is his number 9. I don't have any problem with it. I think it's a cool suit. So looks like it's going to be number 9. That takes us to number 8 slot, which is me. So,
I forgot to mention, I actually have that figure downstairs.
Well, you should have had it.
I know.
Here. Come on. I don't know why we're not in the basement. We should be. Yeah, I'm gonna go
wife's not home.
with a topical villain that was one of my early faves when I first got into comics. It's the old Taskmaster.
I knew you would have this on your list.
Yeah. Just a classic. I remember, like I said, I started reading, started really subscribing and stuff in 81. And it was just a few issues after I started that we got to Avengers 223, the old Hawkeye with Ant-Man on the arrow. And the villain in that was Taskmaster. I was like, who is this guy that can do everything everybody else does? It's like what is it, like photographic reflexes or something like that they call it. Let me find some more pics here.
And he's also designed by George Perez.
Wow, there's another notch in his belt there. There's a cool shot of him, a little more skull.
Mm-hmm.
I like the movie version too that they come out
I was
with.
just going to ask you if that passes the test.
Oh, I love the shots I've seen of the movie version, and this is the original picture that's on the cover of his debut Avengers issue in like the 170s or something like that. I can't remember what issue, but yeah, it's a Perez classic.
And it'd be interesting to point out like what he has on the Avengers.
Yeah, I mean he's
got.
He can throw the shield like Cap. He's got Hawkeye's bow and
swordsman's sword.
Yeah, swordsman's sword and all that. What are you?
Rope.
He's got the rope, like rope guy.
Rope swinging guy.
So what do you guys think? What, Michael?
I've always digged this character. I like the idea of him having, photo reflexes, and I thought it was always a neat concept. I mean, it kind of reminds me a lot of like Deathstroke the Terminator, but I'm pretty sure he came first. I totally gangbusters. Moving on.
Jordan.
I have always really, really liked this character. But I've always felt like something is off with the costume. There's too much.
There's a lot.
There's one too many colors, or he went with like you said, he took one from everybody.
Yeah,
and
I
it's
agree.
Just a little too much, but I like the character well enough, and the skull and hood look so cool no matter what he's wearing that and especially after this Black Widow movie comes out, he's going to be a more well-known character. So he could easily take a notch on this list. That's fine.
Yeah, I totally agree, though, Jordan. It's not a character I've known much about, but it's a little much. It just there's a lot going on there, and some of it's almost. Like in this image, it looks a little better, but some of them I've seen, it's like somebody just kit bashed a bunch of figures to custom make one. Because the skull doesn't really go with, I think that's the issue I have with it. The skull doesn't really go with the rest of it. Like he's got the pirate boots and yet he's a very classic, it's just a bodysuit with the trunks and the hood. The cape's okay. It goes with the boots and the trunks, but then he's got all this.
Stop sharing it so you can quit finding things.
So what number? This is number 8.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'll write it out just because I think. After I see Black Widow, I may like it better.
I really like that version, what I've seen of it so far.
Mm-hmm.
That mask is better than the skull. I agree. I like the way they did it and had a little bit of those features. Right. They did a good job. So, well, all right. So I made it through. But the best part is that, honestly, is that I only have one more pick after this. And I know what I want there, and I don't want to have to pull one of my backups out. I don't have enough good pictures of others. So let's see. That was number 8. So Jordan, number 7.
I've got a couple really iconic looks still in my sleeve here, so I can see some of you other guys picking some of the other ones I have. So I'm gonna go ahead and get one on the board I don't think that you would pick. From May 1984, Shredder, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles #1, Kevin Eastman and Peter Laird. Not intended to be the main villain of the series. Like, he was there from the beginning, but they basically killed him off. They brought him back a time or two, but Eastman and Laird really didn't expect him to be the main antagonist.
Mm-hmm.
That really came with the animated series, where they made him. He was in every episode. Had Uncle Phil doing that great Shredder voice, and a very a cool ninja sort of costume again with the purple accents. So a very cool look for an 80s animated cartoon. Ninjas were all the rage, of course. Even the live action movie, somehow the sparkly pajama. He was a bad dude. Even
he's ready to go to the disco.
Yeah, even in that sparkly, satiny pajama look. So even translated to live action, looked pretty good.
I want to see the picture of the Super Shredder.
We don't talk about that. Again, the modern look has given it more, more cool. Accurate ninja touches and stuff. But yeah, just I love the helmet, the of course the claws, all that hardware. Maybe all that hardware is for making coleslaw. So
our villain's going to be able to whip up quite a meal.
Oh, Michael, what do you think about this?
What number is this?
7.
I don't love it, but I don't hate it.
Wow.
I don't love it either.
I mean, I have a lot of love for it just because of the cartoon and the character, and that's pretty badass right there. But
I honestly...
Oh my God! I had no idea.
From the letterer himself.
I had thoughts about Krang being on this list and his big super robot body, mutant brain with the robot body, but Shredder I didn't think about.
I'm really glad you didn't put him on your list, Cliff.
But I'm looking at this and I'm like, ooh, even Bebop and Rocksteady might have been more interesting to me. Not costume-wise, but just as
that
a
one's not helping your case, Jordan.
Yeah.
That guy.
Trying to okay, I gotta hurry through the scrolling.
Leave that there. I like that.
Seth, you like this costume?
I'm not saying anything. It's not my turn.
I mean, if I remember correctly, Eastman and Laird looked at a cheese grater and came up with the Shredder.
That's what it looks like.
Yeah, they were gonna call him the Grater or something. They decided let's do it a little more seriously and do the Shredder.
Michael, you have to decide first. Are you vetoing or not?
I'll allow it.
Cliff.
Veto.
Ouch.
Boom!
Ouch.
Cliff has vetoed Shredder. I have a veto override still available. Remember that. I can't use on one of mine, but I can use on somebody else's. And my thoughts on it are I never would have thought of it. I like that it's there. I like that somebody thought of it, and I think it's freaking cool. Like I think it's the kind of pick I like to see. And there's enough going on that's special to that guy. Like, I mean, you know who it is when you see him. I don't know why you weren't sharing this already. Oh my God.
That's what I was just thinking. I was like,
Michael Vito overrid my screen sharing and put this up.
I actually kind of dig this version.
Yeah.
I don't know.
So talk to me about it, Cliff.
He looks like just ninja dude. Like there could be...
What's wrong with that?
As a look...
There's a little bit more than just ninja dude. I mean, there's ninja... In that one picture, there's a bunch of ninjas, but he's got some special stuff going on too, you know.
But had you shown me an army of dudes that look like them, I would have just been like, eh. Like they could have just been any other villain's, rando henchman look. Yeah. Like nothing screams to me like this is the big bad of the series.
Sorry, he doesn't have a brain in his stomach.
Yeah.
He needs a symbol on his chest.
That would set him apart.
There's no letter to identify. There's no S that says Shredder on it. Like,
Well, I was gonna ask you, Jordan. Like, do you have like a bunch of stuff? You have good replaceements, or you got your heart on this guy?
I've got a couple more in my top 5. Not a ton, but I mean, I get it's definitely a comic book character, but he's more well known for the cartoons and the video games, and like he's less of a comic book supervillain and more of a pop culture.
I don't feel that doesn't weigh on me at all. That doesn't bother me. I had Mr. Incredible on.
Cliff, does this make you feel better?
See, that looks freaking awesome. He's got like the Wolverine claws and I love the purple cape with the silver and gray and black and the spiky thing. I mean, there's a lot of classic costume
with villains, but I just, even as a kid, I don't know, like the other villains in that even on the cartoon and stuff were always way more interesting than Shredder was. I was just like, why is Shredder the big bad guy?
Well, yes, he's barely more effective than like Cobra Commander. Like his schemes are always getting foiled. Don't hold that against him.
I don't know. Here's how I feel about it. Basically, I came in tonight thinking if somebody likes something well enough to put it on the list, they want it on the list, and I like it at all, I'm not gonna put up a fight. And like, I let Luther on here, and I'm like, I have no attachment to that costume, but I like it. But I like this costume. Jordan put it on the list. I'm gonna use my veto override.
Wow.
So,
ooh.
See, my thought being was I guess would think Jordan's probably got something I like better.
He might
on his list. So,
but that's not
ghosts.
But he didn't. He chose that, so I'm gonna back him up here. So now the only vetoes left are, me, Jordan, and Michael each have one veto. Okay,
we are halfway through the list.
Yeah, so at number 6, Michael.
Oh, this is so hard. I have such a solid 12. Looking at these guys. Oh.
So hard. He's got a solid 12.
That's so hard. That sounds so bad.
Only 2 picks left, so you better go with a winner.
Yep.
I know who my number 1 is. Like, okay. I have that locked.
And you might want to have a backup in your mind for that number 1 in case we have some vetoes at that time. We don't like your number 1.
Oh, no one's going to veto it. I can tell you.
No,
I'll throw that going down right now.
No. Nobody.
What if somebody picks it number 2 and shortstops you like you did me last time?
Yeah.
I'm going to veto it.
But yeah, you might want that. But remember the situation. Jordan didn't have a veto.
Yeah.
So you might end up in that spot too. So
who does have number 2? Oh, it's me.
Oh,
interesting.
We need to do this every week. Michael, make a pick.
I'm trying.
You get honorable mentions as well. You'll get to talk about everybody. So
all right,
you just gotta take a
swing. We're going with a female, and she's the hottest of them all. The Phoenix, the Dark Phoenix.
Okay.
Silence.
Oh, I didn't know whether there was going to be more pictures, so
we were waiting for the slideshow.
Fire and Life Incarnate.
Oh,
so
shit.
This, what do you like? Oh, yeah.
Spoiler.
I'm going to cut that out.
Spoiler.
That was an honorable mention.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
What do you like about the costume artist?
I've just always like this whole concept of the evolution of her costume from Marvel Girl So when she becomes the Phoenix, the Dark Phoenix, like it's always been really cool to me just because of the way she's always been drawn. Like the yellow has always been drawn more shiny, metallic, like, and then like just showing her unleash her powers. Like I don't think you ever saw a Marvel character, well, a female Marvel character, be this powerful ever before, and like watch that consume the Phoenix, like I said, got to have a design on the chest. Like that is so perfect. I love everything about this costume.
And what was the difference between Phoenix to Dark Phoenix?
Green and red.
Okay, so it just went from the green suit to the red?
To red.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, pretty much. Because, I mean, Marvel Girl originally, her costume was green and yellow.
Yeah, the short skirt, green.
Mm-hmm.
Jordan.
Yeah, I had Jean Grey as an honorable mention in my heroes list. So the Phoenix is as good a hero as Jean Grey is. As the Phoenix is just as good a villain.
Who'd have thunk that Michael, this DC guy, was so X-Men heavy? Like after the hero list. And, coming in with Colossus and Nightcrawler and now the Phoenix.
A dark secret. I grew up on X-Men comics. Like, I still have, like, there's out of all my collection that I have collected my whole entire life, there's been very few comics that I've saved. I just recently looked. My original X-Men collection, like of X Factor, X-Men, like of that time period, I still have. I've got the first appearance of Deadpool. I got Will Spartaccio when he was doing X Factor. There was something, I guess, growing up that I just always loved the X-Men.
I like it. I'm a fan. I'm not going to say no to it. That's for sure. So it's cool. What do you think, Cliff?
I don't love it, but I don't have a veto anymore.
But you're allowed to complain about it if you don't like it.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
What's not to like?
So close to Captain Marvel Shazam's outfit, but just a lady.
Yeah.
Yeah, that sash look.
Give us that other picture again, Michael.
I don't know how to do this correctly. I'm new at this. Yeah, that's where she first becomes the Phoenix.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I don't hate it. It just doesn't. It doesn't. To me, I don't see anything really outstanding about it, I guess. For number 6. But I mean, it's okay. I don't know.
Yep. Well, it sounds like it's going to stay. So I'm not going to. I'm only going to use my veto if I really just don't like something. If I think something's way too high in it. This isn't in the top 5, so I'm not going to cry about it yet. So, Dark Phoenix. I like our list being all over the place.
I actually think our villain list is better than our hero list.
Yeah, I'm digging our villain list for sure. So now we move on to our number 5. So coming in at number 5 is Jordan's pick.
I
believe.
2.
No.
Nope.
Sorry.
That's Cliff.
All right. Coming in at number 5, it's Cliff's pick.
Yeah, number 5.
He gets 5 and 4, so back to back. Get your vetoes ready. I had the option to get this list, this section, and I did not want it again because it was a very frustrating moment to have 2 picks in a row and people vetoing everything you put up there.
Yeah,
that's a tough spot to be in, Cliff. I don't envy you.
Who still has vetoes? I have 1 veto.
You, me, and
You
Jordan
have 1?
all have 1.
You all
We're
3
about
do.
to make Cliff's life rough.
Let's burn them all.
Yep. Here we go.
So, well, perhaps I should change my strategy. But at least we'll see where it goes. Number 5, I'm going to go with one of my top picks. This one immediately was on the list. So just going to share my screen real quick. Black Manta. Scuba
Digging
suit.
it.
Always loved it.
Scuba Steve.
Big old scuba.
Better than the Condiment King.
When I was a kid, I didn't read Aquaman comics or anything like that. So I never knew what the deal was with this guy. I knew him from Super Friends, and I was always like, is that his head? Is he some kind of fish? Some kind of fish thing underneath? Like, what is the deal? How does that... It always befuddled me because it's such an odd shape at the top. And then it has those, that glowing red coming out of it that fires the lasers. And I was always just fascinated by it. And so when the... I think it was the Young Justice cartoon came out a few years back, and the Aqualad character on that show was Black Manta's son. So it piqued my interest, and they even demonstrated, I got to see him who was underneath the costume, and how that whole thing worked. Always thought it was very, very cool. Classic black and silver. Always had some kind of like harpoon weapon. Very, vicious, I'll hunt the Sea King type of thing. But as far as costume, that's it. I just always thought it was super cool. And what a neat way to do a scuba suit.
Michael, what do you think of it?
It's all about the headgear. Like, there's really nothing. It's not even the costume. It's black, and then it's the headpiece that makes the costume. It's one of those weird costumes that shouldn't work, that just should totally suck. But there's something about the headgear that it actually is cool.
Yeah, I just think it's an amazing design on it. It looks retro, but still futuristic at the same time.
Yeah, it's got that old school, like, he almost looks like a space, Adam Strange kind of character, like the bubble helmet of an astronaut or something. That's what it kind of gives you the vibe. And they did a really good job adapting it to live action with the Aquaman movie. It looked really cool.
Absolutely,
in real life as well. I'm
digging
the gills. I'm digging the glowing gills on the picture on the left.
Yes, that is my favorite. It's that that deep dark sea, and then this just red glow coming at you is just amazing. Like, what in the world is that? But just, I don't know. It was always a little bit terrifying to me. Just the mystery of it, because it wasn't a character that they really, I ever felt like. As a kid, I didn't know who was behind the mask or in the suit or what it was. Is that just what he looks like? I don't know.
Is that Neil Armstrong over there on the bottom right-hand corner? Because I am not liking that design.
This one right here in the right hand?
Yeah.
No, it's not. It's not Neil Adams. It is.
Okay.
It looks a little Alex Rossi.
Yeah, I think.
No, I thought that too, but it's like it almost looks like a blend between the two. But I want to know where the hell his head is at in that design.
Yeah, it's basically like in his neck.
Yeah, it's like with the other ones I can kind of see, but that one, no. Like, that looks like a freaking clam.
It does a little bit, yeah, in that one. And that's very much how he looked kind of in the Super Friends cartoon a little bit. But I don't know, it was just such a I just always dug it. I just think it's a cool, original, neat design that, like I said, I was always fascinated with it. So he reeks bad guy to me. Like, that is a dude I don't want to mess with.
Sounds to me like you guys aren't going to veto it, right?
Well, Lex Luthor's unhappy about this, but he's not going to veto it.
Not on Juneteenth. Sorry.
Yeah, I love it. I freaking love it. So I would not veto this. No, it wasn't on my radar. I mean, I always knew of this guy, but I didn't really think about him much until the Aquaman movie, and I liked it in there, and I love all these pictures. I mean, I can't find anything to not like about it. So definitely like it at 5. So you're getting off a little easy here. Now you're.
That was too pressure. Easy, wasn't it?
No pushback. So, but now at number 4,
you better really bring it.
You got to bring it.
Oh man, guys. So this basically has to be my my number 1 going into that. That's just been my strategy throughout this. I could be silly and throw a couple more in here that I think you guys would probably veto just to get them, brought up and on the list. But that's not who I am. So just gonna, like I said in that last countdown, got to shoot your shot on your number 1.
Cliff, you are a gentleman ghost.
We got a Batman villain, the Scarecrow.
Wow. You're not a Batman guy.
Not a huge Batman guy. I like Batman. This Scarecrow, because there's a lot of different Scarecrow costumes, the way he's been drawn in the past.
I need to know which version you're going with. I want to see a picture of the costume that you're going with.
Yeah, so I actually I put these up here because I kind of felt like they were all fairly similar, a little, in basic design. I like kind of that pointy hat with the traditional Scarecrow mask. I don't like the version with the gas mask or any of that. This is, of course, going back to Super Friends, I can hear the voice in my head, but it's definitely that Super Friends version for me. I'm okay with the noose around the neck, but it's just Scarecrow. This one up here in the corner.
I really didn't think anyone in our top 4 would be dressed in burlap, but you always surprise me.
But I had a corduroy man was going to be in there, but
and see, I purposely did not pick Juggernaut because he's all like very one color note, and this is the same thing right here. It's all very one color note.
Well, he's a Scarecrow, and I kind of think brown is a very underused color. I think when it comes to comic book heroes and villains, so it always, I don't know, I always kind of notice a little bit when it's a not, like we were talking about. It's not purple, it's not green, it's not black. It's a brown and orange, almost a yellow in there in some versions. But with the fear toxin, the fear gas that intensifies the use of his look, he's meant to strike fear when you see him.
Let me share my screen. I got a better pick for you.
Hold on.
Well, the current redesign is terrible. If you've seen him, what he looks like today in the comments.
Yeah. Classic Scarecrow. That same style.
Did you have him as an honorable mention, Michael?
Absolutely not.
Oh, okay.
Wow.
Never mind.
Okay.
I hate this outfit.
Really?
It's like, because granted, I totally understand the Super Friends reference and all that, but to me, it's so generic.
All right. Like, I gotta say though, Michael, if you look at like Colossus, Nightcrawler, Jean Grey.
We're not talking about heroes. We're talking about
Jean Grey, Dark Phoenix. They're all like very generic costumes, 2-color costumes that don't even, barely images on them, except hers has the Phoenix. But it's like you tend to gravitate towards those type of costumes, but this is too simple. I don't understand.
It's just
I think this has a lot going on. I think it's the hat, the around the thing around the collar to make it look like the straw coming out and things, the hands, pointy fingers, and I think it has a lot going on, and I think it's neat that they can accomplish so much with just different tones of the same color. I would think I guess I'm criticizing less than I'm so surprised that I would think you would look at a simple costume like this and find all these details just that most people wouldn't notice. And I don't know. You hate it though.
He hates it.
I do. I really hate it.
He hates it.
and
do you have other pictures, Cliff? Let's see what were your other pictures?
Okay.
Oh, the ones I had.
I mean, Batman has like the biggest rogues gallery. So Scarecrow wouldn't have been the first one that popped in my mind, but he's definitely one of the longest running. He's a classic character.
And it's terrifying.
It doesn't scream. Yeah, it doesn't scream like superhero costume. It's not boots and tights and things like that, but it's a different.
The freaking hat is iconic.
I love the hat. And that mask,
straw hair, and
it's just it doesn't just look like a dude in a costume. Like it looks like something out of a horror movie to me. Always did, even as a kid.
It's very Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Yeah.
Well, we're not going to talk Michael into it. So, are you vetoing? You have a veto left?
Yeah, sadly, I am vetoing.
He's going to.
That's all right. You gotta like it if you want it in the top 5. But
I didn't love it either. But there's some other Batman villains that aren't nearly as good. So.
Well, to me, it's like that whole costumes. When I say generic, is like that outfit is like in every cornfield.
Jordan,
you can't go to Spirit Halloween and pick out some of these, but you can get one of those to hang up in Halloween.
Yeah. So what do you got there, Cliff?
Okay, give me just a second here, because
now I mean, like in real life, movies. That would be creepy as hell. But in comic form, there's something about it. I just think it's generic.
I got to tell you, I love this scenario where Jordan can put the smackdown on you with no vetoes left and take your number 1.
He's not.
Yeah, just like you did to him. That would be great.
Do you really need to bring that up?
Yeah, I was waiting until you used your veto to bring it up.
Okay. Let me share here. So, I honestly thought that was not going to be the one that would get vetoed. I really did. So, I can't say I have anything I love.
I've been there, man.
Yeah, I love a whole lot more than that. But I'm going to stick with the Batman villains. And I'm going to go to Mr. Freeze.
Yes, that was on my list. I approve that 100%.
Neat character.
Although
tragic backstory, but as a super suit, pretty freaking cool. No pun intended. But I like the version with the glowing red glasses or goggles coming out of that frosted dome over top of him that has to keep him a certain temperature, and you can never go wrong with a cold gun, just in general. So it looks cool. It honestly, the design of it, I always thought it looked like something that, because it was always big and bulky and had almost like an insulated look to it, like it would be something you would wear in the cold to keep you warm. But the fact that it had the opposite purpose and it was meant to keep him cold, I always thought was a neat costume idea. Okay, a good twist on what my eyes were seeing, but knowing a different story. So
Let me share my screen. I got a better
Okay.
pick.
All right, we got a better pick.
I like how
guys.
his is definitely better.
It's
They're always
absolutely
better.
better.
It's better. I have a better
It
pick.
is.
I have a
We'll
better-
let you know here.
It's Arnold Schwarzenegger, I know.
We will let you know.
Tell me this. Tell me this isn't the best.
No.
Oh, come on! Seriously.
I seriously wasn't going to say anything, but I want you to have to listen to yourself freaking criticize Condiment King when you're like all about this and Lex Luthor's suit. I'm like, they're all three the same suit, and you're like, nope, no Condiment King.
Actually, I was gonna say, I like the designs from the animated series on almost all the villains better than a lot of their comic book versions, except for Mr. Freeze. I always liked him in the comics better than this version.
Yeah, get that off the screen and go back to the clips.
Yeah, we're vetoing your better picture, Michael.
That's a free veto.
Let me
Cliff
put
got
up a
one veto back.
superior.
Cliff got his veto back to veto your version of his pick.
I don't care. Mr. Freeze is still way better than Scarecrow.
Well, I'm gonna say this. My opinion. I liked Scarecrow as a pick, but I am very glad that you vetoed it, Michael, because I like this 10 times more. Like, I think this looks great. I love this in the top 5.
Yeah, we're in the top 5 now, so it's
this is fantastic.
I don't think there's any argument between us here.
Yeah, this is a great pick. You killed it, Cliff. Killed it.
So there we go. That's it for me, guys. That's all the picks I had.
Well, that takes it out of the top 3, and this is my last pick. So this is my number 1 pick. I want to remind everyone I was very nice. I want to remind Jordan. I want to remind Jordan because Michael and Cliff don't have any vetoes left.
I'm always nice. What do you
Jordan's
mean?
the only one. I overrode a veto for you, so I'm just saying. I got nothing to replace this. Is what I'm getting at. You're not gonna want anything else that I have. Okay, so let me see here. It'll take me a second. I should have been more prepared.
That's some pretty good strategy to undercut the pick at the beginning and to go with the sympathy.
Yes. So X-Men villain who is very costumey.
I'm so curious.
Mr. Sinister.
Yay! He was on my list.
He's got a lot going on. A lot
He
going
does. He's very flamboyant.
on. He's got
He has extra flair.
I believe I like let's try this one.
You can start being defensive now because I hate Mr. Sinister. So you can know where I am at. I'll be honest with where I'm at. So you got to win me over.
He's got the thigh highs and the elf boots.
I will say I'm extremely surprised by this because of all the aspects of Colossus and Nightcrawler that is in Mr. Sinister.
I agree, Michael. I think
He's got.
I love the design.
He's like talked about his tassels. He's like his plumage, you Philistine. And I'll just end with this one. I think that is just badass.
That's pretty good looking.
That's the one that won me over. Like, I freaking love that shot. It's like, for a villain, he is it's very flamboyant, but I think that's a badass costume.
My hatred of him isn't necessarily because of the visual. It's just his powers are pretty ill-defined. He can just do a lot of stuff. He's a clone, so he can come back. There's no stakes. He can come back at any time. Like, he can't really be hurt or anything. And he's just
have they ever said?
Yeah, I get that part. Yeah,
it's just one of those things where whatever he needs to do, he can do it. Oh, he's got mental powers, or he can shoot energy beams, and I just never and I don't like clones, and I don't like the backstory behind it. But
yeah, I have the same issues with the power structure.
Yeah,
but that was not my focus.
But he's become a more central. The recent stuff, where the mutants are on Krakoa. He's become kind of a central character there. They've made him a little more like the plumage comment. He's less pompous, the arrogant guy he was in all the years previous. So he's a little more like relatable and the kind of I don't know, the put upon sort of the smartest guy in the room that nobody will listen to, I guess.
All right, well, anyone can share any thoughts. Jordan's the only one that matters. But
like I said, I had this on my list. I love the design. It is very flamboyant. I mean, I don't know that much about this character. The most that I remember is that he was always fixated on Scott Summers and Jean Grey's DNA. Like that's pretty much as far as I know of the character. But I did always think that it was a neat design. I like it almost has like an Archangel feel to it, with his cape or plumage or whatever you want to call it. You're right. There's a lot going on with this outfit.
Yeah, there's a lot going on.
But it works.
You like it, Cliff?
Oh, he hates it.
Oh,
I don't hate it. But
can I point out that it has the high shoulder pads that Seth complained about with Colossus and Nightcrawler, even though that I like this outfit.
But they're even higher.
It's
Once
not even
they get
about
so
that.
high, then they get cool again.
It's not about that. But that had nothing else going on. This is all about the plumage. Like this is just nobody else is doing that, and I think it looks great. I think that
Hawk. It's very Hawk has
it's
that.
Got,
Hawk and Dove. Hawk has that.
Yeah,
that look.
Yeah. It's got Nightcrawler's colors and Colossus's arms.
Yeah,
that's bitter.
Okay.
You put their pictures up next to this and look at how plain they look.
He looks like a villain, but he doesn't look like a. I don't know. Moving on.
Beautiful bird, lovely plumage. If Cliff's a little ambivalent towards it, Michael really likes it. So that if both of you guys hated it, I would feel better using my veto. And I do owe Seth one for keeping my guy on the list, so I will not veto that and give you your number 3.
Good, because I don't have anything better than that.
I'm taking your threat seriously that it would be a worse pick coming.
I'm like, you will regret it. All right, so at number 2 we got Jordan.
All right,
Second to Michael.
2. I'm gonna hope this is Michael's number 1. Let's see what.
Oh no! Don't do it.
That'd be awesome.
I'm scared.
Well, much like my number 1 pick would have been Spider-Man on the last list, I really only had one character that could have been my number 1. This is my favorite villain of all time. I did it.
You just submarined him.
No!
One thing, I hope this was his number 1, and I hope that you veto his backup. And then he has to come up with a third one.
See, he's got the number 1 pick, so he's got to have a good one.
Yeah, you're supposed to. You gotta be ready if you're gonna use up all your vetoes. At number 1, you better be ready with 2 picks. All right, tell us about this, because I love Dr. Doom. I almost put him on my list. I think this is a great pick. So,
one, that hand probably looks familiar.
Yeah, I've heard of it.
Yeah.
All right, so debuting July 1962 in Fantastic Four issue 5 by Jack Kirby and Stan Lee. And I'd only heard this. I just saw this today. I'd never heard this before. But it said Kirby modeled Doom after death, with the armor standing in for a skeleton. Quote, "It was the reason for the armor and the hood and the inhuman-like steel. Death is something without mercy, and human flesh contains that mercy. Dang, Jack, come on. How bad is that? Human flesh contains mercy, so Doom has none of it. He is just steel and a green miniskirt.
I did read where Jack had a story of where he was going to have the face mask come off, and it was just going to show that he just had a very tiny scar on his face.
Yeah, he was so vain that even a tiny scar he couldn't dare show off. So.
Michael, you like this because it's the Marvel Girl costume, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Now, are you a fan at all of the Walter Simpson version of this costume?
Which is that?
It's where it's basically he kind of does away with the green in the front. It's all armor.
Like the Secret Wars toy look with the shield.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have?
Hold on, he's got a better picture. He's got a
better pick, Jordan.
I better stop sharing so he can show his better pick.
Yeah, show your better pick. So it was going to be your number one, so let's see what you got.
Yeah.
I did pick a picture of Jack Kirby's, but here's the Simpsons version.
The Simpsons version?
Yeah,
Simonson? Is that what you're saying?
Simpsons, yeah. I totally screwed that up. What's new? I always did dig this costume. This isn't a good pick of it, but
now he's so modest with his pictures.
Yeah, I don't have a great pick, but this was gonna be your number one. You better have a good pick.
It was.
Ugh, no thanks.
It's like he's naked.
My number.
Mm-hmm.
Hold on. My number one pick was.
We would have vetoed that.
Was that one?
Yeah, that's what he shared. That's good. It's a good one.
Yeah, and it's really not changed too much since then. With the basic look, the belt. Sometimes the belt buckle looks like a D. Sometimes it doesn't. The armor look. They sometimes they'll give him some animal fur or something along with the collar or something, but it's basically the same look since the 1962.
All right, sounds good. You're not gonna veto yourself, so at number 2 we got Dr. Doom. I can't wait to see what's number 1. Cannot wait. Let's count it down. Let's count it down.
Yep.
See where we started to find out where we're gonna end up at. Number 12, we started with Gentleman Ghost, but it got vetoed by Michael. Quickly used one of his vetoes, and then he came back strong with Condiment King, who echoes throughout the list from Cliff. And then at number 11, I had the newer white version of Magneto's costume. Number 10, the classic Harley Quinn from Jordan. We started off good there, getting in the top 10. At number 9, that metal kind of costume, space suit looking costume of Luther, very reminiscent of Condiment King. Then at number 8, we had the very 80s Taskmaster outfit that I slipped in there. Number 7, Shredder. Got vetoed. Came in from Jordan Shredder, and then it got vetoed by Cliff, I believe, and I overrode that veto to try to make sure I could get my number 3 on there. And then number 6 was Dark Phoenix for Michael, the red and yellow. And we got into our top 5. Cliff came strong with Black Manta. Everybody loved that. The helmet is very iconic. And then number 4, he came with Scarecrow. Got a little love, but Michael hated it. It came off the list. Replaced it with a much better suit, though. I think so. And he was pulling it off. Mr. Freeze. And then number 3, I came with the flamboyant Mr. Sinister. And was able to keep it on there because a lot of people didn't have vetoes. And then number 2, Jordan got Michael back and stole his number 1 out from under him like Michael did on the hero list. So we had Dr. Doom. Now Michael, with the number 1, just had his number 1 stolen. Jordan still has a veto and could veto this pick if he doesn't like it.
So yeah, that was a tough call. I had to go into my honorable mentions to pull the number 1 out of my hat last time. So Michael, what do you have left on your list that is A,
and it turned out to be great.
Is A, your favorite, and B, worthy of a number 1 slot of all time greatest supervillain costume?
He's been sweating. I tried to read that list slow so he could try to figure something out.
I mean, oh, jeez. I should have never picked it. I was going to get number 1.
I just want to reiterate, that's 2 lists in a row, that I've given the number 1 pick 2 vetoes to protect their pick. So if he would have put Dr. Doom and you wanted it your number 1, you could veto it, and then you put it at number 1.
I would have been happy with that because Doom could have gone number 1. That'd be great.
So I really feel sick to my stomach. This is horrible.
I hope you hate it, Jordan. I hope you freaking hate it.
I still have a veto left too, Michael. So.
I know. That's what I mean. I hope it's just like you can't stand for this.
I almost I so badly want to throw a different pick into number 1, but I'm afraid it won't get vetoed. So
I like this. This is fun.
To me, if we're not going with Dr. Doom, we're going with the granddaddy villain of them all. Like this is when it comes to villains, there is no villain higher.
Comes to villains, guys. This is the one.
Number 1.
I know what he's doing. You know what he's doing. Nobody's gonna argue with it. Oh my God!
Wow.
Huh.
What do you think I was going to do?
Well,
Galactus.
I that's not what I thought you were going to do, but this was in my honorable mentions. This was possibly what I would have replaced Sinister with.
Granted, there's been some evolution with the costume. The original costume wasn't as mighty as that it's evolved into, but I feel like the headgear. Evidently, it's all about the headgear.
Can be. That's part of the costume.
Mm-hmm.
Has been pretty true from the original, and it is such an iconic design. Like, you could see the silhouette of this figure and know immediately who it is.
Well, just off the bat, I'll say I love this look. I like this shot, by the way, but I like those colors together. You're right, the headgear has a lot to do with it, but it's just that. It's just a classic costume, that such a cosmic villain, it is epic, and I like it. I like it at this pick.
My only issue is I love the headgear. I agree. And the size, the epicness of it. Love the design. It's always been that. It's going back to that Hawkeye. It's that same color scheme. It never works. Blue and purple.
I love it.
I was waiting for that. I knew you were going to bring that up because as soon as I picked that character, I was like, he's going to bring up Hawkeye. I just know he is.
It's just something weird to me about blue and purple. So, but I don't have a veto, so it doesn't really matter what I think.
It's all about Jordan.
I would be worried what else he'd pick, so I feel like this is good enough. Number 1.
It would be dangerous. A dangerous move.
Yeah, to just let him go wild card.
I almost want you to veto.
I like the idea they've brought in that he's like the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man. He appears differently to whoever sees him. Like, what if you're an alien race where he looks human to us because we're human, he would appear different to somebody else. So that's the idea. Is this isn't his 100% his form, but it's just what we perceive as this cosmic god being. So
and it's a hell of a lot better than just a cloud.
yes. I love the Fantastic Four. I love Galactus. It's Jack Kirby to the max. So I will not veto this. I say that's a worthy. He could eat every other villain on this list, so let him be number one.
Let him eat cake.
Something else I observed on this episode and the hero list. You don't want to have number 12 because it's going to get vetoed. And
so everybody's just loose with their veto.
And you don't want to have number 1 because whoever has number 2 is probably going to pick your spot.
Yeah. No, you want to save your freaking veto. Nobody wants to do that.
That's a pretty good list.
Just as Cliff was not having Hawkeye on the list, I was not having the Gentleman Ghost.
I think you're crazy.
So get this, out of 12 picks,
the
top 2 are Fantastic Four villains who don't have a great history in the movie world, are not at the moment fan favorites or anything like that. 3 Batman villains who arguably has the best rogues gallery in the DC universe. The best rogues gallery in the Marvel universe, Spider-Man, zero Spider-Man villains.
I thought for sure somebody would have Mysterio.
Honorable mention. I'll show you what my Spider-Man honorable mention. You probably won't like it.
I think that Spider-Man has really good villains, but the design quality of a lot of the villains are lackluster.
I agree.
Let's see.
This.
Not everybody can share at the same time, guys.
Okay, I'm sharing first.
Click, click, click.
Here's one of my Spider-Man villains I like. Tarantula.
Yes, I like Tarantula.
Is those knives in his boots?
Yeah, those spiky boots. Can't. It's all about the foot gear. And then I also this is a classic costume to me. Electro. I think that's a good costume.
He has good headgear.
Yeah, he does have good headgear. You're right.
I can never like that mask. I couldn't
It's
do it.
goofy.
I mean, if you see that guy in real life with that mask on.
I always thought Mysterio, had I had a Marvel guy on my list, it would have been Mysterio. That again, the dome.
Fishbowl.
Yeah, the fishbowl, but I had Freeze, so
that's way better.
Did you have any other guy honorable mentions there?
Me? Yeah. Let me see. I'll go ahead and finish up here.
Okay.
Let's see.
That's the best pick right there. I want that on my wall.
Okay. I got 3 that were in my honorable mentions, but I wrote what I'm going to put them on. We got I like the classic AIM costumes. No particular guy, but I like it's all about the headgear again. The AIM guys. We got Silver Samurai.
Okay.
Like that. And
similar to Sunfire.
Craven.
I had him in my list.
So did I.
Yeah.
That's
all I got.
I will say, if you were going to veto Galactus, I was going to pull Craven.
I was a little surprised nobody went with the Joker, but
that's who I thought he was going to put when he said
the
granddaddy of them all or whatever. I was like, okay, it must be Joker.
It's the same thing. He's wearing a tuxedo. No,
I'm
it's
okay.
not a costume.
The face and the makeup is iconic, but what he wears isn't generally just
right. Yeah.
You could have went with that Hawaiian shirt and the hat. The class.
That would have been good.
I only had one other one in my top 5. I came up with 12, just weirdly the same way I did Heroes. Just off the top of my head, I came up with 12, and I did 5 that I'd be happy to have on the list, and then the rest were just honorable mentions. So the only other one on the top 5 is hot one right now, Loki. I don't know, not the greatest costume, but a good look. There's how
I like that one.
Yeah, Simonson drew it a little more superhero-y rather than Norse gaudy. And he's been he's been a craggly, creepy old man. He's been a young, studly dude. He's been a kid. He's been a frost giant. He's been animals. He's even been a lady.
Odin doesn't like a lady Loki.
But my favorite is when it looks a little more, like actual garb. Like it looks like leather and cloth and stuff, where it actually looks like that. But yeah, Loki's cool. My other runners up. Whoops. Not that guy. Whoops. I blew it. Hold on.
Beyond. I'm excited about that.
Yeah.
The jumpsuit.
I can't wait to see which suit this is.
Yeah,
The
Beyonder,
jumpsuit.
an all-powerful being, just hangs out in a disco suit. and a
You
Jerry
realize
curl.
we don't see that right now. We
You don't?
We
No.
see your list.
No.
We see
We
your
just see
list
your-
of files.
Abort. What is happening?
I don't know.
Stop sharing and then go
Yeah.
back to your picture.
Yeah.
I'm not sharing.
Oh, but you
Hold
are.
on.
It's y'all.
I got you. Try again. Won't work. Okay. Well, while Jordan's working on that, I'll
Stupid computers.
Stupid computers.
I'll run through mine real quick here. Just a personal favorite. I realize there's a reason why I didn't bring it up, but again,
The skull in the hood. What,
classic
you don't
elements
like
of that skull in the hood. Yeah. The glowing skull.
that? You didn't want to hear about it after you run your mouth. about
Right.
Taskmaster.
That was it. But then we have Professor Pig.
What the hell is Professor? I don't know.
Again,
I love when you pull out something like this. Could be a total joke. Like this could be like let's see if Seth believes there's a character called Professor Pig,
He wears a pig mask.
and he's got a butcher
Yes.
apron on. He's a pig.
He's terrifying.
He's the one who's supposed to get butchered. It's weird.
I always like Poison Ivy in this version. Always dug it. That kind of leafy leotard look.
Oh, I do not like that.
Yeah,
I've been liking your picks
Yeah.
here. Yeah, that's a good one. That should be in the top 5. There. Oh,
Yeah. Crazy Quilt. Here's another fun one.
Crazy Quilt.
oh my God, I'm so glad this did not make the list.
Oh my God, that's very close to Polka Dot Man.
Yeah.
Okay, I have a question though.
Yes. What?
Taskmaster has a lot going on, but Tracy Quilt doesn't.
Yeah, but he's admitting it right off the bat. He's like, "Hey, I'm Crazy Quilt guy."
Yeah, it's on the surface. I'm blind and I use my special helmet of light to see colors. Yeah,
Wow.
I don't know. I just always thought this
Is
guy
that
was
a hamburger in the background? Is he teaming up with the
cool.
condiment?
Right here. I don't know what it looks like. A hamburger.
It's like the Hamburglar.
With a mustache. Yeah.
It's Mayor McCheese.
Wow.
But yeah, I just always dug that. Whenever these guys pop up in like those weird Batman cartoons, I always think it's a ton of fun because I don't like seeing the same villains all the time. And anytime there's a lot of color, and it's something different and original, I'm always fascinated.
Okay, get that out of my face. I can't
Who
believe
is
it.
that guy? So
Move on.
There you go. Pickle Rick.
Yeah, I think that's it, guys. That's all I had on mine.
Stop the share. Okay. Jordan, try it again.
I think I did it right that time. Okay, there we go.
Oh, yeah.
He had the guts to walk around America with a Jerry curl and the disco collar.
Just let your soul glow.
I love Secret Wars 2. I love the Beyonder for some reason. I've always loved the black cat costume, like the fur around the ankles and the
that
wrist.
almost made my honorables.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Bullseye.
Also, yeah.
Anytime.
As much as
if you don't do the thing, the Colin Farrell thing, they still do that in a lot of the comics. They have him carve the bullseye, which is a dumb look. But
yeah, this is good.
Like, can I say one thing about Bullseye real quick?
No.
Sure.
Like, to have a bullseye on your head, like, you have to have the biggest balls of them all. Like, I actually love this costume, even though I hated Daredevil's.
Turns out he just worked at Target.
So Catwoman has had multiple iconic looks.
Yeah.
From the purple dress of the original Golden Age, the simple animated, the gray look, my favorite is the Jim Lee design with the goggles and the big belt buckle.
She looks frustrated.
Moving on, Craven. No.
Topical. Okay.
The Craven. I love Mystique.
Yeah, I almost had that, and I thought I couldn't give all that crap about Colossus, it being about the armor, and this is about the blue.
But yeah, she wears a belt of skulls, and if you didn't notice that, there's an extra one on her forehead. That's talking about gutsy. And Typhoid Mary has always stuck.
She always scared me.
Yeah, she had a lot of different kind of looks, but they're always like weirdly put together. They're a little bit schizophrenic, like she would be. So, rounding out my top 12.
Good stuff.
So, let's see.
What else you got there, Michael?
I always loved, speaking of headgears, I've always loved her headgear.
Hella cool.
Yeah, it is hella awesome. Like, and that, like, it's not very often you see that design of her costume. It's usually like, I mean, you always see that type of headgear, but because I mean that's very busy. But I've just always loved that design.
She's got the Carol Burnett. Yes. Scarlett O'Hara.
Yeah.
I saw the window and I just had to
the curtains. Yeah.
Curtain rod.
I also had the Reverse Flash.
I like that costume. Yeah, I do like the yellow.
I've actually honestly can say that I almost love this better than the original Flash costume. Like the colors, the black. Like I can remember actually having a T-shirt with this symbol on it. There's just something about that color scheme, like reverse like that. I think it's badass. To go along with Taskmaster, we have Deathstroke the Terminator.
Yeah.
Obviously, I mean,
very similar.
Inspiration for Deadpool. Just saying.
It was always a cool thing with Deathstroke, just having that one eye out. Just a different look. So cool design there. So yeah, we did it. I think.
I also I also had the Catwoman.
Yeah, as far as costumes that, like Jordan said, have had a lot of evolution through a long time. That's a good shot.
Ooh, yeah, that one almost made my list too. I like the Hobgoblin.
I actually prefer this over the Green Goblin. I think this is
I agree. I like the Hobgoblin better, yeah.
And I had Craven. I had the original Venom.
Those pants that he's got are pretty sharp.
That's it.
Whoa.
Well done, everybody.
We did it.
Yeah.
Bring on the bad guys.
All right, who's ready for sidekicks?
This guy.
I did think of what we should. That's on my list of countdowns. I wasn't going to do costumes, but just list of best sidekicks.
We could do that.
Yeah, we got to do costumes. I'm excited now. Right. I feel like we're getting better at this every new list.
We're not any faster.
No.
No.
But But yeah, I think it's going well. So it's not a format a lot of people do when they do list shows. So I dig it. And as far as we're concerned, we're going to keep on doing it, at least for now. So.
And surely we left off somebody's favorite. So give us a shout if we missed something obvious that you would have liked on the list. It won't do anything, but we'll bring it up at least. It will fall on deaf ears, but hey, just let us know. Tell us how wrong we were.
And since we're talking about supervillains, just in case you guys want to read some free comics, go to SurProComics.com. And always on the illustrious Michael K. Easton.
Shop at Asylum Comics in Marietta as well. Why not? I'm going to pitch as well. My name is Jordan Lowe.
I don't feel like pitching it. I do that all day for a living. I'm the gentleman, Cliff Barnes.
If you're jumping on mattresses and you fall off and hurt yourself, go to the hospital. Seth, bye forever.
Ka-Pow, the Pop Cultured Podcast, is intended for entertainment and information purposes only. Sounds, music, and clips played during the podcast are property of copyright holders. All original content is property of www.udownwithkpp.com. If you enjoyed this podcast, please subscribe and leave a comment. Ka-Pow, the Pop Cultured Podcast, is available on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Podbean, Spotify, and wherever podcasts can be found. You can connect with us through social media on Facebook, YouTube, at the Ka-Pow Podcast on Twitter, or email the show, Ka-Pow, the Pop Cultured Podcast, at gmail.com. If you really want to go the extra mile, please sign up to be a patron through the Podbean app or our website, www.udownwithkpp.com, to receive special content and early access to some episodes. We are grateful to anyone that chooses to contribute, but please know that most of our content will always remain free, so please continue to like, comment, and share.